With the 2023 NBA All-Star Weekend behind us, now we have a few days off of NBA basketball before it gets rolling again on Thursday, I believe. We're going to go into some second half predictions for the NBA season. Or, I mean, it's not really the second half. We're pretty far past the halfway point of the year. More like the, second part of the season, post All-Star break part of the season. We're going into some predictions about awards, standings, and get into some NBA news that's been going on across the league. So before I get into my predictions, I want to, quick reminder for y'all, please hit the subscribe button if y'all enjoy my content or see potential in my content. It'll really, really go a long way, and I appreciate all of y'all. And let's get into the predictions. Starting off with the awards, I got my prediction for MVP. I think everyone's saying it right now. Nikola Jokic winning his third MVP in a row. That is my prediction. He's just been on another level of just pure dominance in the NBA. Him and the Nuggets being the first seed in the West with him, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, Aaron Gordon. Just a really, really, really nice team out there in the West. Nikola Jokic, I think, will win his third MVP in a row. Hopefully, voters fatigue doesn't completely overshadow how great he's been and they don't even vote for him. I think he's been too great to, put voters fatigue into this. Just Nikola Jokic, I think, will win MVP for sure. Him winning his third MVP in a row would also make him only one of 4 players ever to accomplish such a feat, with the other players being Larry Bird, Will Chamberlain, and the late great Bill Russell. Just obviously incredible company, and Nikola Jokic, it's looking like he's going to join that 3 MVP in a row club. Now for Defensive Player of the Year, this might be controversial with some conspiracies going on with scorekeeping and everything, but for Defensive Player of the Year, I do have Jaren Jackson Jr. winning it. Brook Lopez has been great, leading one of the best defenses in the league with the Milwaukee Bucks, but Jaren Jackson has been leading a better defense with the Memphis Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson has been incredibly dominant on the defensive side of the ball. The Memphis Grizzlies having the second best defensive rating in the entire league with only Cleveland above them, but Jaren Jackson has been an ultimate disruptor on the defensive side of the ball. And some of y'all might think his stats are juiced and everything with the conspiracy with the stats being juiced at home. The scorekeepers are messing with the stats, his blocks and steals and everything. But when you just watch Jaren Jackson Jr. play, he has a absurd presence on the defensive side of the ball. He's incredible in the pick and roll, incredible on help defense. Jaren Jackson does it all. The only real knock on his defense or his play in general is his fouling. He at times fouls way too much, which is obviously free points or reset a possession or something. But Jaren Jackson Jr., besides his fouling, is, in my opinion, the Defensive Player of the Year. For Most Improved Player of the Year, I think this is actually the easiest award for me to predict. I have Lauri Markkanen for the Utah Jazz. Just pretty much was a throwaway piece in the Donovan Mitchell trade from Cleveland to Utah. And now look at him. He's an all-star, and not only an all-star, he's an all-star starter. And he's brought this Utah Jazz team who had no expectations to do anything in the regular season. Their only expectation was to make, a top 4 in the draft lottery. Now Utah is not in there just because of Lauri Markkanen. Now is that good or bad? We'll see in the future. But Lauri Markkanen, individually, that is good for him. He's really, spreading his name across the league right now, especially to the casual fan who probably doesn't know Lauri Markkanen. He's definitely showing out this year, and people are starting to, give him some recognition, well deserved. And Lauri went from averaging 14 points per game, 5 rebounds per game on 44, 35, and 86% shooting splits. Not too bad. I mean, pretty good role player. Stretch big, to 25 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, shooting 51, 41, 87 shooting splits, almost shooting 50, 40, 90 in his first season with the Utah Jazz after being traded from Cleveland to them. It's just been, an ultimate underdog story. You love to see it. And Most Improved Player is always about the underdog who, comes up from no one really expected anything from them to flourishing in their situation. And in Lauri Markkanen, he went from a role player to an all-star starter in one season. if that isn't most improved player of the year, I don't know what is. And for people who think players such as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards should win this award, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying those two players coming into this season were very widely respected players, and players who everyone pretty much expected to have a pretty decent jump. Everyone was saying Shai, as long as the OKC Thunder don't shut him down, he'll have a pretty good season, all-star potential. Anthony Edwards was the former first overall pick. He's obviously going to get jumps every single season. People even saying Tyrese. I can see Tyrese, but the same thing, Tyrese still had pretty decent expectations coming into this season, being traded to the Pacers, having that team basically to himself. Lauri Markkanen was a role player for his whole career. Came in after, 3 seasons of his career, a couple in Chicago, Cleveland, and now Utah. Really came in no expectations to do anything. Their expectations was to lose, and no one, play extremely well. And now Lauri Markkanen is an all-star starter. In my opinion, that's what most improved player of the year should be. Players who had no expectations and coming into the season and surprised everybody. Not players who were lottery picks. Anthony Edwards first overall pick, and they get better as we expect. That's not most improved player of the year in my opinion. And I'm even talking to myself right here, because even before the season started, you can check out my regular season award predictions, I believe. In the off season, I predicted Anthony Edwards to win most improved player of the year, and obviously right now I'm not really agreeing with that. Anthony Edwards was a former first overall pick. I think we all expect players at that caliber to increase their stats and everything every season. Now on to rookie of the year. As much as I love Benedict Mathurin, one of my favorite rookies in this class, you gotta give Paolo Banchero his respect. He's my rookie of the year for sure. Paolo averaging 20 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, and his three-point percentage is not very good. He hasn't shot the three that well, but man, this dude can get buckets whenever he wants, and his playmaking, super underrated part of his career. His playmaking is very nice, especially for his size and position and everything, and he can definitely hold his own on the defensive side of the ball. Paolo will definitely have a very bright future in this league, especially with Orlando still projected to have a real high pick this coming up NBA draft to pair alongside Paolo. Now, a sixth man of the year, very strange award this year, just because of the fact that Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, was a runaway, and if he is still qualified for it, I'll definitely vote for, or I'm not voting, but if I were to, I would vote for Russell Westbrook. But with him being on the Los Angeles Clippers now, which I made a short about it a couple days ago. If you missed it, go check it out. That's why I didn't upload a whole video on it. I just uploaded a quick short on my reaction. But Russell Westbrook now with the Clippers, I don't know if he's actually going to be coming off the bench or he's going to be starting. And he even started a few games with the Lakers in the beginning part of the season before switching to the bench role. So I don't know if he even has enough games to qualify for Sixth Man of the Year at this point, especially if he starts from here on out. But if he is qualified, Russell Westbrook is my prediction for Sixth Man of the Year. Just been pretty good in that role. And obviously with the Lakers, it didn't work with him starting. So now he's just coming off he was coming off the bench. And it worked pretty well as a spark off the bench. Did a little bit of scoring, a little bit of everything, got everyone involved. But if he's not qualified, I'm not sure how the qualification works. So I'm just kind of guessing at this point. Jordan Poole definitely has a real nice case. I believe he's averaging 20. But even Jordan Poole has started a lot of these games because Steph has been missing games. So Sixth Man of the Year, I don't know. Y'all gotta let me know in the comments below who y'all would pick and what the qualification is. Like, how many games do you have to come off the bench for you to qualify? As of right now, hands in the air, I have no clue. Sixth Man of the Year, kind of a strange award this year. Russ would be my pick. And I think I would assume Russ would come off the bench because that's kind of where he flourished. But I don't know what Ty Lue has in plan for Russ in the Clippers. Now, for my pick for Coach of the Year, it's not just a dude with the most wins, best team or whatever. I'm picking the guy down in Sacramento, Mike Brown, been able to take this Kings team that had expectations to make the play-in, maybe low seed playoffs, to literally the 3rd seed in the West in a not stacked, well, stacked West now, but in a pretty good West, and 3rd seed in the Western Conference. As I'm recording this, I don't know if they'll drop or anything. We'll talk about the Kings later on, and as you see by the thumbnail, most likely. You're probably wondering my thoughts on the Kings, but we'll get into the Kings in a little bit. But Mike Brown led this team with okay expectations to the 3rd seed in the West right now. And Mike Brown orchestrating it all, and real nice team down in Sacramento with Fox, Sabonis, and all them. Mike Brown is the head coach that's really been putting it all together. So now that we got award predictions out of the way, let's get to these team predictions. Let's get kind of the obvious ones out the way. First, I think the Nuggets got the 1st seed in the Western Conference locked. I don't think anyone is passing them, which is one of the also driving forces on why I think Jokic will win MVP. He has the Nuggets like basically locked to make this 1st seed. They have a pretty decent gap on everybody else. And yeah, the Nuggets, I think, have that 1st seed pretty much wraps. The 2nd seed, I think, is the Grizzlies. They're still a few games behind them. Yeah, I think the Nuggets got that. Now for out East, I think my 1st seed prediction is gonna go to the Milwaukee Bucks. Boston Celtics, it's gonna be really close. I'm not gonna lie. The Boston Celtics are the 1st seed as I'm recording this, but the Bucks are only half a game behind. Giannis is injured and he's gonna miss a few games apparently, so that could hold him back. But I just feel like this Bucks team is on a roll right now, and with them not really slowing down, it's just really health holding him back. And once Giannis does come back, Chris Middleton is starting to get more healthy, more put into the rotation, more minutes per game. This Bucks team is gonna be insane with Jay Crowder as well coming back, or not coming back, but actually gonna be able to play for them and everything. Just gonna be really, really, really good team. Celtics are definitely no slouch either. That team, they might win the championship with how good that team is. But the Bucks are just on a roll at the perfect time. I think the Bucks will make that 1st seed in the Eastern Conference. Now another obvious one, but I think it's kind of getting blown out of proportion right now. I think the Brooklyn Nets will drop and stand in the Eastern Conference standings, but I don't think it's going to be as much as you might think. Yeah, this team lost Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, both superstar type players. But when you look at this team, it's still really like very, very solid. Like this is the epitome of a very, very solid team. I don't think they're like some lottery team that's just really bad or anything that's gonna, you know, trying for a top 4 pick in the draft or anything. I think this team is still pretty good, and Mikal Bridges is showing his real offensive bag that we never really saw in Phoenix. And I don't know, Mikal Bridges, I'm gonna make a whole separate video on the Brooklyn Nets coming up soon. Mikal Bridges is definitely gonna be a main topic in there, so stay tuned for that one. But I think the Brooklyn Nets will drop, but they're the 5th seed right now. I don't see, because the East isn't as tight as the West right now. So 5th seed they are right now. I think they can drop 7th seed maybe, like maybe fight in the play-in, but I don't think they're gonna drop like 10th seed, 11th seed or something like that in this short amount of games as well. Now with one team dropping, one has to go up, and I think that will be the Miami Heat. I think they're the type of team that like this last couple stretches it's gonna be a dog fight. They recently signed Kevin Love. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And I just think this team is ready to make a push to get out of the plane into the playoffs. They don't gotta worry about those extra games. I think this team is going to take full advantage of the Brooklyn Nets potentially dropping. Now for the Western Conference in standings and everything, we're going to get a little juicy over here. Not for, you know, clickbait or anything. I actually truly believe these things. But this thumbnail might have gotten some people, you know, a little interested with the Kings obviously saying, are they going to drop? I do believe the Kings are going to drop, but we'll get into that right now. But the Lakers and Kings obviously in the thumbnail. I just think the West is so close. Like the West, half games between each seeding, a game between each seeding. Like I said earlier, the only real team that has a gap is the Nuggets, and it's just a couple games, but everyone else is like a half a game, one game in between each other. And with the Kings not really done anything in the trade deadline, and everyone else basically did. Like Kyrie Irving is a Dallas Maverick. Phoenix got Kevin Durant. The Los Angeles Clippers got Bones Highland and Russell Westbrook. The Kings kind of just stayed the same, and like the third seed is real nice, but when the entire Western Conference is clawing at you to get up there where you are, and you kind of just stayed there, kind of froze up, and the trade deadline didn't really do anything, while everyone else got better, geared up for the last stretch of the season. That's not really looking too good for you. The Kings I still do think are a good team with De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, Keegan Murray. I like me some Keegan Murray. Trey Lyles, Chimezie Metu, both former Spurs legends. Even some of their standouts like Kevin Huerter have really slowed down over the past couple weeks. I just think, and also Sacramento has the fourth hardest remaining schedule going forward. It's just really not looking positive for this team right now. Like, yes, they're the third seed. Sacramento's going to make the playoffs for the first time in years. But it's just not looking like they're going to really do much with it, with the whole West getting much better and them kind of staying the same. So yes, I do think they're going to drop. How far down? I don't think they're going to be in the play-in or anything. I don't think they're going to drop that far. This team is still very good. I just think everyone else got better. So I would probably say like the 5th seed, maybe just outside the play-in, like the 6th seed or something. Yeah, I just think they're going to drop. I still think it's a good team. Just everyone else, like I said, got really, really good in the West. Now, the other team in the thumbnail, the Los Angeles Lakers, I think majority of people see them jumping up pretty high in the standings. Apparently, LeBron is going to try and play the remaining games for LA, which is a really good sign. I'd honestly be surprised if he wasn't trying to do that. But LeBron going to play. AD hopefully stays healthy during this stretch. This is some of the most important stretch of ball in the past couple of years for the Lakers. They need to make a push, and they need to make a push, hard and, efficient. Make every single game count for them, because it's literally going to be so close down to the stretch of this season, with them battling with Utah, Portland, OKC, and all of them to make that play-in spot. I do think they're going to make the play-in, and then they'll eventually make the playoffs. I don't think you can mess with LeBron in those clutch moments like the play-in game, playoffs, and everything when he's fully healthy. So I do think they'll make the play-in. I don't know how high up, but just because of how close the West is, I think they can jump up to that 7-8 seed, honestly, especially with the Pelicans not having Zion still. Portland just kind of being mediocre. Damian Lillard is carrying them. I just think they can pass up those teams at Utah Jazz. I think the Lakers can, beat out the Utah Jazz in the standings. I just think they'll pass up those teams and everything. OKC is going to be a tough one, but I think OKC during this last stretch might slow down. I don't know, but I think the Lakers will get up to that 7-8 seed at best. I don't think they're going to get out of the play-in, past the play-in into the playoff lock. I think they will, if anything, get into the play-in. I think they'll get that 7-8 seed with how close this Western Conference is. Now, for who's falling out, because someone's going to fall out if someone's going in. I think the Lakers are going in, but who's going to fall out? Honestly, this hurts me to say, and it might trigger some people, but them being the defending champs, it's rough to say this, but I think the Warriors might drop out of the play-in and miss the playoffs as a whole. This Warriors team has no Stephen Curry with his leg injury. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but with this stretch of games, you need everyone healthy. You need your superstars healthy. You need your stars healthy. You need your role players healthy. You need your coach healthy. Get him the best health possible. You need everyone healthy if you're going to make the play-in / playoffs right here. Steph Curry is out. He's literally the entire franchise. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but when you're just barely making the play-in game with the Lakers trying to claw in as best as possible, I think the Warriors can really fall and miss the play-in as a whole. Now, is that realistic with their track record? No, it's not. But I just don't see them beating out some of the teams that like OKC, though the Lakers, maybe even Portland. I don't know. I just think the Warriors will drop, and the Lakers will make it. Another team I got dropping is the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, I am aware B.I. has been hooping recently. Right before All-Star break happened, this man went off, I think averaging 30 points per game in a stretch of games. They won like 4 of the last 6 going into the All-Star break with no Zion Williamson. And now, obviously, when I made my video saying what happened to this team, and as soon as I made it, BI just popped off. But in general, I don't think this team is going to be much better going into this last stretch of games. Now, they do have a relatively easy schedule, but with no Zion or anything, I do think they might drop. Now, I'm not saying they're going to drop out of the playoffs because they're pretty close to that area, but I do think someone like the Minnesota Timberwolves can definitely pass them up or something. And yes, BI did ball out that last stretch, but he had to average 30 points per game to win those games. And if he doesn't do that, this, last 20 games or so stretch, I don't know if they can, really win a lot of games. I don't think they're going to fall at the plan, like I said, but it might be some rough sledding going forward, especially with no Zion. But like I said, Minnesota, I think we'll pass them up. And with Cat coming back soon, Anthony Edwards playing great, especially that, leading up to All-Star break and everything. Rudy Gobert and everything playing all right, and this whole team really coming together recently. It really does make me think they will be better than the Pelicans this coming up stretch, and I think we'll make a push to make the playoffs and not the play-in. I don't know if they will make it, but I think they can make a pretty positive push, making that 6th, 5th seed. And some other obvious teams that I haven't mentioned yet, I just want to talk about them real quick, that'll most likely jump up. I can't see a world where they don't jump up. The Phoenix Suns obviously adding Kevin Durant and not having lost CP3, Booker, Ayton. The Dallas Mavericks will jump obviously with the new addition of Kyrie Irving. The Clippers with the new additions of Bones Highland, Eric Gordon, and assuming it all fits, Russell Westbrook can be a really nice addition as well. Those teams I think are pretty obvious picks to jump. Just wanted to get them out the way really quick because everyone probably knows how good those teams will be. So now we're done with predictions. Now I just want to get into some quick NBA news if you're interested. So Kevin Love signed with the Miami Heat, like I mentioned earlier. Him and Cleveland agreed on a buyout situation, and now he's heading to Miami. I already saw him getting some shots up. Him and Bam Adebayo were having some funny banter on Instagram. Kevin Love, I think, fits really well with that team. Just a nice stretch big who can get some rebounds. Returning to that number 42, that's pretty fun. Will Barton and Washington came to an agreement to buy out his contract. He's still a free agent right now, I believe. He didn't get signed by anyone yet. And John Wall, Stanley Johnson, Serge Ibaka, all still free agents. Those are definitely players some teams can use right now. And RJ Hampton also got signed by Detroit. I think that was today when that news came out after Orlando waived him. I just really like what Detroit's been doing with, getting young players like RJ Hampton, James Wiseman, Marvin Bagley even last season. Just taking chances on players that, are young, have potential to, break out. You never know if it's just been a situation that they've been in that really didn't let them flourish. You take a chance on them. If they don't work out, they don't work out. You just move on. They'll find another team or, G League or whatever. They'll do something else. But if they don't thrive or anything with your team, it literally didn't take a hit on your team. You traded some pieces you didn't need. You signed them for a couple $1 million that, isn't going to hurt you in the long run. This, it literally does not hurt any young team that's bad right now to go after these young players. And Detroit's doing that. I like it. RJ Hampton obviously was waived by Orlando for a reason. He wasn't great for them. But, you never know. Maybe Orlando isn't good at developing players. Detroit might know what to do with them. And you never know. People can break out in new situations with new environments. Now, this also happened earlier today with the Atlanta Hawks firing Nate McMillan. And from what I've seen, ATL fans are pretty happy with this. They say, I think I saw on Twitter, people were saying like he's a pretty outdated coach. I personally haven't been watching extreme amount of Hawks games. But definitely I can say ever since that Eastern Conference Finals run, they kind of just been pretty disappointing. From, standings wise and playoff success wise. And obviously when teams go into this like panic, everyone's saying they've been pretty disappointing, especially when you go out and get a new star like DeJounte Murray and it hasn't really done much for your team. Obviously the first person that goes majority of the time is the head coach, and Nate McMillan got fired today. And I think it was someone that's already on their staff is now the new head coach going forward. And who knows, this could turn it around for the Hawks after them being pretty mediocre this year. This could turn it around. We'll see going forward. The Chicago Bulls also signed Patrick Beverley, which is cool, I guess. I mean, he doesn't really move the needle at all. He's not a franchise player. He'll probably be on a new team next season, honestly. Patrick Beverley, just really going to be fun for the fans to watch while they go through this mediocre stretch of games. Patrick Beverley is going to really provide antics on the court. Yeah, it's just been real mediocre year for the Bulls, and even worse news for the Bulls. Unfortunately, but unsurprisingly for me at least, Lonzo Ball has been officially shut down for the year. Not really looking good for him. A lot of people are comparing this to Brandon Roy's situation. We don't want to get into that again with Lonzo. Hopefully it's not like Brandon Roy's situation. Hopefully Lonzo just figures it out this offseason with his doctors and whatever. Gets it worked out, and he comes back better than ever next season. But Lonzo Ball, it's just been very, very concerning with the things that have been coming out about his injury, with him unable to go up the stairs, unable to walk, or just some simple stuff that these players anybody should be able to do. An athlete at his caliber isn't, because of his leg, and he's already had multiple surgeries and everything on it. It's just not really looking good for him. I hope Lonzo Ball can, recover this offseason and hopefully play for the Chicago Bulls next season. So that wraps up my very long video compared to my other videos. On my second half predictions, my post All-Star game predictions. I don't know what I'm going to name the title, but this second last stretch of the NBA season, my predictions for what's going to go down in it, and maybe a little bit after, especially with the awards and everything. That's actually towards the finals when those awards get put out, but I decided to include those award predictions in here. But if you liked the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be notified as soon as I upload. And if you're on the fence with what I'm saying, or you agree or you disagree, put it down in the comments below. Be respectful, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.